all of that, and I know it was hard for you. I'm doing better too. Feeling a little more in control.
That's good to hear. I'm proud of you. Keep trying, honey. You'll get it.
She knows exactly where to stick the knife, doesn't she? Thanks for that. I'm just feeling a little under pressure today.
During the hug, Bonnie silently lifts the car keys from Lila's coat pocket, slips them into her own jacket.
Now I'm doing what I can to be a good sister, and I am telling you, fuck her. Fuck her and her vitriol. She's worse when she drinks, which is just about always. Why do you even want to spend time with her? Why make yourself a target?
I've tried to make the break, but sometimes I feel sorry for her. She doesn't have anyone else in her life. Dad ran off without any warning. You've cut her out almost completely. So I try to make her happy sometimes.
You can't make anyone happy. You know that, right? You especially can't make Mom happy. She can't even make her happy.
I know. We're each responsible for our own happiness. I have that on a post-it on my bathroom mirror.
Bonnie strikes a pose her mother would make, starts to mimic her.
I'll keep trying, hon.
Keep trying, honey. You'll get it. So close.
You could help a little.
Now, why would I want to do that?
He must be having trouble getting his boxers back up.
Do men pull their underwear down to pee?
I have no idea.
There you go.
Bonnie gives a thumbs up. The daughters return to their tasks.
Don't they just use that flap thing?
Oh, yes, there you go.
Lyla and Bonnie freeze. Listen. A light, then louder, rhythmic thumping can be heard.
Unbelievable.
Maybe I will help a little.
Oh, wow. I stand corrected. She can make herself happy. Or something. I'm guessing this wasn't in your party planner. Are his wrists and ankles still tied together?
Yes!
Excellent! Do you think you two could maybe finish in there anytime soon?
Much sooner than I thought.
Really? Dang, just like old times.
It wasn't my idea.
Lyla lights up another cigarette as we hear mumbling and moving about in the room. Richard shuffles in, beanie cockeyed, lipstick on his face. His wrists and ankles are still bound. He settles into an easy chair.
That wasn't my idea.
So we heard.
Barbara enters, straightening her hair, locking eyes with Lyla. She snatches the cigarette, takes a drag, blows the smoke in Lila's face, hands it back.
You suck the fun out of everything, sweetie.
Just like old times.
Since the minute you were born.
Don't I know it? I think I'll have business cards printed up. Lyla Conrad, sucking the fun out of dysfunctional for 30 years. Yeah, the background color will be shit brown. Think chocolate pudding pureed with that foamy yellow blood-tinged bile and slimy chewed grass an old dog heaves up on a hot day. The only appropriate font would be Comic Sans if you think about it.
I'm gonna need to wait a minute before cake.
Barbara lounges on the sofa.
Do lighten up, Bonnie. It's my birthday. Look at her. I think she might finally blow a gasket.
Lyla resumes her spot by the table, intentionally putting herself between Bonnie and Barbara.
Nothing anyone ever does is good enough for you.
You find those forks yet?
Bonnie sucks up her anger, finds the forks in another tote bag. Lyla hands her father a plate of cake, slides her own aside, then cuts an enormous corner piece, nearly a quarter of the entire cake. She slides the knife under it, lifts it precariously over the last paper plate. Almost there, she wobbles accidentally, and the piece lands on its top. She carries the mess to her mother, plops it in her lap.
Oh no, look at that. I'm so sorry.
Bonnie stabs a fork into each parent's piece, hands one nicely to her sister. Richard does his best to eat with his hands still tied. Lyla and Barbara lock horns.
You didn't sing.
And we're not going to. Eat your cake.
I'm not eating that. You ruined it.
You will eat that cake and you will like it.
Nick.
It's your favorite.
Lyla Jean Conrad. Back off.
Now that takes the... All right, you win. Since you're not up for it now, you can take that cake home with you and eat it later.
Lyla snatches her mom's enormous purse from beside the couch, lifts the cake off her lap, and dumps it in the bag.
Problem solved.
My Kate Spade!
You know what? I think Kate's a little thirsty.
Lyla snags the bourbon off the table, empties it into the bag, pitches the bottle into the fireplace. She holds the purse up with one hand, squeezes it with the other over and over. Squish. Barbara watches in horror, lunges for the bag when Lyla finally offers in. Barbara slumps onto the couch, cradling the ruined purse, genuinely crying into its sticky depths.
How could you? My Kate Spade! It was so beautiful! God damn it, why would you do such...
Because you're a superficial cunt. Can I get some more punch, buddy?
I am not a superficial... I can't even say that word. I love you girls more than anything. You really think of me that way?
She starts toward the bedroom, waffles about whether to leave the purse or take it. Leaves it, exits to bedroom, slams the door. Lyla lights up another cigarette with the butt of the last one, stares into the cold fireplace. Bonnie stands over what's left of the cake, also lost in thought. Richard eyes the front door, weighs his chances, strains at his wrists, kicks his ankles, covertly testing his bindings. He plops on the couch with a loud sigh.
How about starting the fire over there, Lilac? It's freezing in here.
Not allowed. And don't ever call me Lilac.
Bonnie absent-mindedly pulls an Afghan off the back of the sofa, covers her father, goes back to her thoughts.
Sorry, Daddy. I know it's cold.
Thanks. That's perfect.
He slowly slides his hands under the Afghan and pulls his ankles up out of sight, works on untying knots.
Was she always so...
Hateful, hurtful, hostile, horrible.
No, of course not. I wouldn't have wanted anything to do with her.
Why did you want anything to do with her?
She was drop-dead gorgeous.
All the while, secretly working at the knots.
And she thought I was incredibly handsome, which I was in college. She was in one of those snooty sororities with girls who go to school to snag a rich husband. I was in the frat house for up-and-coming entrepreneurs. We saw each other at a party and decided we looked good together. So we started dating.
That's it? You looked good together?
And we had amazing sex. Mind-blowing sex. In my car, in her car, on top of my dad's car, on a Ferris wheel, at a petting zoo. Animalistic. Hey, you asked. We got along in other ways too, and we made each other laugh. She was a good cook. I was on my way to being a hotshot in the corporate world. Her wealthy family mostly approved. So we got married.
That is the most individually wrapped American cheese food, flavorless slice of bullshit I have ever heard.
Barbara opens the bedroom door, leans on the frame.
We've always been shallow, materialistic assholes, I suppose.
She tips a dusty, nearly empty bottle of whiskey to her lips.
Where the hell did you get that?
Top shelf, linen closet, an oldie but a goodie. What's little's left of it. Sometimes the bathroom was my only refuge. Anyway, Nobody talked about the important stuff back then. The things people should talk about and come to terms with before saying, I do. If you were in love, or what you thought was love, you got married. You listened to the preacher saying all those words about commitment and faith and death, but it's like buying a car or the thing you have to check on one of those dating sites. You scroll through it, not reading, not caring enough to understand what you're signing up for. You just want to get to what you think is the fun stuff. So you click on the I agree button and hope for the best.
You work hard, buy a little house, have lots and lots of sex, get a cross-eyed cat that likes to eat curtains,
Get pregnant in 5 minutes, get fat for 9 months,
have no sex for 9 months.
have a beautiful baby girl that smells like sunshine. But she's always hungry, always crying, always needing change, always awake, always needing something, always needing me. My life is no longer my own. I'm exhausted and nothing I do will soothe you, and your father is no help at all.
Babies terrify me.
Because they are terrifying. But you could have tried. I needed you.
I did try. And we were good for a little while. Living on so little sleep, I can't remember much of anything. It's all a haze.
Somewhere in the fog we found each other once. Again.
After Bonnie was born, you wouldn't let me touch you.
For nearly 4 years. I had one baby, then another, latched to my body all day, every day, sucking the life out of me through cracked nipples. My body was no longer my own. It felt like a tool for everyone else. When they finally would sleep, I'd have my skin back for a few blessed hours. I couldn't give it to you. I needed it. But I hated it. Stretched and dry, flabby and red. I didn't recognize myself in the mirror. That was somebody else's ugly body. I didn't want to look at me. Why would you want to?
Oh, right. This is where I'm supposed to say, of course your body changed, but you were still beautiful to me. Motherhood suited you. I wish I'd been a better father.
That is one wish I can't help with.
Well, you weren't. It didn't suit you. And I gave up trying after you told me for the 100 millionth time I wasn't putting their socks on right.
Well, you weren't. The lace belonged.
It didn't fucking matter! They were gonna kick them off again in 2 seconds. What the hell, girls? Do you still hate socks?
Sort of.
Yeah, pretty much.
Bonnie snaps her fingers, checks a couple tote bags, finds the one with Richard's lone sock.
What do you have against socks?
Here you go, Daddy.
Without thinking, she tosses him the sock. Without thinking, he puts up a free hand at the Afghan and ropes on the floor, bends over and puts the sock on while he talks.
Thanks. I hate bare feet. They're just weird looking. Nobody wants to see other people's hairy, crooked toes, giant bunions, yellow nails.
He sits up, slaps his hands on his knees, takes in the silent stares from all sides. For a long second, no one moves. Suddenly, Richard breaks for the front door. Lyla easily beats him there, bars his way. He runs toward the kitchen, but stops short to avoid the giant frosting-covered knife Bonnie holds firmly. Richard runs to the hearth, digs frantically through the fireplace tools.
Looking for this?
He spins in her direction, brandishing the bellows. She holds up the poker.
Ha! Nice try. Where do you think you're going?
Home? I just want to go home.
We're not finished here.
What else do you want from me, Barbara? I'm exhausted. I'm cold. Haven't I answered your questions?
Come to think of it, no.
Seems he's done whatever he could to not answer your questions.
So he has. I'm cold. I'm hungry. I have to pee.
Jumbo dill.
Take a seat, Richard. I want this over with as much as you. We're nearly there, I think.
Barbara pulls out the dining chair he started out in. Bonnie guides him to it with the knife as a prong. He takes a seat, angrily resigned. Lyla retrieves the ropes, trades her sister for the knife.
You were the Girl Scout. A little tighter this time, though.
My thoughts exactly.
As Richard is being trussed up again, he watches as Barbara empties the last few drops of whiskey into her punch cup, looks disappointed, then smiles to herself. She grabs one arm of the sofa and yanks upward. It sticks for a moment. When it finally pops up, we see the arm has a hidden compartment built in. She reaches inside, pulls out a full bottle of booze.
That's one hidey hole I didn't know about.
A girl's gotta have secrets.
She adds more whiskey to the cup, then tops it off with punch.
Anyone else? No? Still? After all that? Alrighty then. I can let all the rest go if you'll just tell me this. Did you ever really love me?
I don't know.
You don't know? After all this time, you have no idea. You haven't thought about it. You
Oh, I thought about it. I've talked to professionals about it. That didn't help.
professionals. Only weak-minded people.
Nice, Mom.
Can you answer the same question, Barbara? Did you ever really love me?
Of course I did. How could you?
Did you really? Or was I just a box you checked as you gathered the things you thought your perfect life should have? Good-looking husband with a decent job, check. Cute house, picket fence, fine car, check, check, check. 2 children, check. Then,
Did you ever? Was I ever beautiful?
you were, Barbara. Very beautiful. And then you weren't.
Flabby, stretch mark.
It wasn't the physical stuff, mostly. That wasn't the big issue. You just,
What?
like I said, nothing was ever good enough for you. You'd check off those boxes, then add more boxes.
What do you mean?
Our house wasn't big enough, so we got a bigger one.
The girls needed their own rooms.
Then our car wasn't nice enough,
Where were we supposed to all sit?
so we got a new one. And of course, at that point, my job wasn't paying enough, so I had to work harder.
We discussed all those things, and we agreed.
Do either of you ever try to discuss anything with your mother? How's that work out for you?
Painfully, every time.
So, yeah, having to work harder meant working longer hours, trying to impress my boss so he might consider me for a promotion.
Which you never did.
Exactly. Your father's a dick. I guess he didn't much like you either, come to think of it. So I come home every night, year after year, an exhausted, useless disappointment of a husband, hoping for a little affection once in a while. Tell me, Bunny. Oh, never mind, how would you know? Hey, lilac. I'm sure you got some insight. Who wants to fuck someone they think is pathetic?
I never said you.
It was on your face. Your exfoliated, moisturized, plucked and painted face. Still is. And then, it wasn't just me who didn't fit nicely into your coordinated outfits. Your everybody smile pretty Olin Mills family portrait. Puberty was not kind to you, Bunny.
So I've heard.
Puberty is not kind to anyone. And neither is your mother.
Don't you dare put all this on me. What about Alice, the little whore?
She isn't.
Wait. Isn't?
You're still with Alice?
Yes. Yes, I am. We went to Spain for our 10th anniversary.
She was a child.
She was 18.
She was my best friend.
She was my girlfriend!
Yeah.
Was she though? That question is for both you girls, really.
Yes. Yes, she was my best friend. We both played trombone, which everyone thought was weird for a girl, but we didn't care. She was a couple of years older, but in band, you can be friends with everybody. And nobody makes fun of you. It didn't matter what I looked like. She liked me for me. We just watching British comedies. And Red Green on PBS. Play with a Ouija board. It always spell out hilarious things like die, mom, die. And she'd make peanut butter and
Pickle sandwiches. I thought you didn't like those.
I didn't say I ate them.
You sure ate a lot of them. I told you they're fantastic. So was she. She made me feel normal and interesting at the same time. I never felt normal or interesting. She loved my mohawk and my nose ring. She was with me when I got my first tattoo. Not the semicolon, that was my 8th tattoo.
You have 8 tattoos?
I have 27. I thought the first one should say, die, mom, die, but Alice talked me out. Like with you, Bonnie, she liked me for me. We could talk about anything and she didn't judge. She gave me my first kiss.
Oh, stop.
Barbara sprawls on the sofa melodramatically.
I feel like I stole her from you. That was never my intent, though I know it doesn't matter.
It hurt, no question. She moved on from me to you. I hated both of you for a while.
Then she fucked your father.
Then I hated her more. And you, Daddy, I hated you the most. At the time.
I couldn't believe it. You and Alice? In my bed! My bed! She was a little whore. I often wished both of you were dead.
Yes, you did.
What can I say? We fell in love.
Not 3 hours after meeting each other. The night before we watched some movie with Christopher Walken or maybe Don Rickles, I don't know. And she said she wondered what it would be like to have sex with an old weird guy like that. I didn't think she was serious. All I could think about was who the hell would want to have sex with Christopher Walken.
Apparently Alice would. For 10 years.
You do look like a...
I do not look like Christopher Walken or Don Rickles. You want me to say I'm sorry? I'm not. I'm not sorry for the things I did. I'm not sorry for the things I didn't do. I'm not sorry for any of it. The way I look at it is this. Everything I did in my past somehow led me right up to the moment where I was staring at a poster of Barack Obama's face, banging a sweet young thing, thinking to myself, I hope I get to do this again. Since that day, I've had the best years of my life. Thanks, Obama. Are we done here? Because I'd like to get back to fucking my beautiful wife.
Are we done here?
Yeah, yes. I am completely done with him.
Happy fucking birthday.
Lyla, are you satisfied?
I got my answers.
Okay then.
God, I can't wait to put on pants. You do have my pants, right?
First things first.
Bonnie moves behind her father like she's going to untie him. Instead, she pulls a syringe from her coat pocket, grabs him by the hair, and jams the needle into his neck. He slumps into the chair.
What did you do that for?
It'll be much easier to take him home that way.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. I'm ready to go too.
She grabs her Kate Spade bag, absentmindedly puts it over her shoulder.
Check your watch, Lyla. Did we meet your deadline?
Looks like there's just enough time for you to go fuck yourself.
You don't mind cleaning up, do you? I'm exhausted. I need to lie down in my own bed. This has been The worst day of my life. Why would you do such a thing to me?
She reaches automatically in her bag for a bottle, comes up with frosting. She angrily smears it on Bonnie's coat, losing control. Lyla stops her.
You got your wish, Mom. Questions asked and answered. The questions were shitty, but you wouldn't have been happy no matter what he said. Just sit.
Jesus Christ, Lyla, can you spare me the lecture? It's been a long goddamn day and I...
Put a sock in it and park your ass for just a minute while I make myself useful.
Lyla guides her to an easy chair, hands her the nearest bottle of booze. She works on the cap, swigs. Lyla gathers plates, forks, cups.
You still cold, Mom?
Nothing's changed.
You're right.
Bonnie unfolds the Afghan, drapes it over the chair behind her mother. She produces another syringe from her coat, plunges the needle into her mother's neck, whispers in her ear.
Be careful what you wish for.
Barbara's head lolls to the side. Lyla looks over right after her sister stashes the syringe.
Oh wow, she was really exhausted.
She's dead.
What?
She got her wish. I got mine.
She pats her mom on the head.
And you got yours.
What do you mean?
Bonnie tilts her chin at Richard. Lyla rushes to him, checks for a pulse. Nothing. She runs over to her mother, checks for a pulse. Same result.
What have you done? What the fuck have you done?
You said you wished he was dead.
I didn't mean it!
You meant it. With every heartbroken, confused fiber of your being. You'd never take care of it yourself, though. Not in a million years. Mom pegged you earlier. You're so good at brooding. But me? I'm a planner. I play out every possible scenario in my obsessive little head. Well, usually. Today helped. It's fair share of surprises for everyone.
Lyla collapses into a chair.
3 wishes granted. Though I was on the fence about mine for a while. She made up my mind for me. It made so many lives better. Yours, mine, and everyone she will never scowl at again. No more cruelty couched in helpful advice on makeup, weight loss, and lifestyle choices. No more disappointed disgust blown in my face on her hot, boozy breath. No more God hates the gays. No more blueberry girl. She kept biting people, so she needed to be put down.
I don't.
Just go home, Lyla. Down here.
What are you going to?
Don't worry about it. I thought of everything.
Bonnie helps her sister up, guides her to the door. Lyla is barely able to function. She reaches for the doorknob, fishes in her pocket.
You'll need these.
Bonnie pulls Lyla car keys from her coat pocket. Lyla stares at them for a moment. She is suddenly clear-headed, frightened.
Are we good?
Yes. Better than we've ever been.
Okay. I'm going to need some time to process everything that's happened today.
Of course.
But I will call you soon, I promise.
Perfect. We'll have a lot to talk about. I love you, Lyla.
I love you too.
Lyla exits, Bonnie closes the door, walks across the room, fills a cup with punch. She is unsurprised when the front door bursts open and Lyla enters in a panic.
My wish, Daddy and Alice. I said I wished they were both dead.
Yes, you did.
Is she?
2 nights ago. Dad came home late from the office, smelling faintly like his secretary's perfume. After he was asleep, Alice checked his jacket pockets. She has a suspicious nature, of course. Understandably. Lo and behold, she found a crumpled receipt from a restaurant she'd never been to for 1 filet mignon, a Sears scallop entree, very expensive bottle of Pinot Noir and a single slice of death by chocolate cake. It was delicious. Well, she woke his ass up. Of course, he had no idea what she was yelling about. Couldn't guess where the receipt had come from, and hadn't seen his secretary all day. He had to sleep on the couch. Poor Daddy.
Bonnie slides the bottle of bourbon in front of Lyla.
Yesterday at 4:37 p.m., a box of chocolate-covered grapes and strawberries, her favorites, were hand-delivered to their home with a sweet note from Daddy. He was already in my trunk. Sadly, the berries didn't agree with Alice.
Lyla drags herself from the chair, takes the bottle, exits. Bonnie picks up the knife and what's left of the cake, then sinks into the sofa. She is visually centered in the room between her dead parents. She digs into the cake, eats a mouthful off the knife, and closes her eyes. Lights fade around her, leaving her alone in a pool of warmth and comfort. She lets out a long, deep sigh as the tension leaves her body.